Hello, welcome to Crafting with the Crafty Chick. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are working on projects for the month of October, and the first project that we will be doing is a fall sunflower card. This is a Crafty Chick original, and there's two different stamp sets that we're using on this project today, and one is the Celebrate Sunflowers bundle, and it comes with the coordinating dies, and these are both in Stampin' Up's annual catalog. And so we're going to be using this big sunflower today along with this big leaf, and I will show you guys how I colored it with the Stampin' Blend. Really quick, I want to just show you the dies that come in this set. Love this stamp set. So this is a main outline die that die cuts the sunflower out, and then this one that you see here I call an overlay, which is this early espresso piece that goes over the top. And then we're going to be using these, which I cut out in crumb cake, and then we have our leaf outline as well as a leaf overlay that we're going to be using. And then the center of our sunflower has this die cut that has holes already in it, which is in the center of the sunflower. So we're going to be using these today. I'm going to leave this out because we will die cut the sunflower. I will tell you that it is best to stamp your sunflower first and then color it in and then die cut it out. It just makes it so much easier than trying to color a die cut piece already out. It's harder to hold onto. And then we're also going to be using the Best Year stamp set, which is full of different sentiments. I love these kind of stamp sets that just have a variety of sentiment and different font styles. But the one that we're going to be using on our card today is the thank you for all that you are and every thoughtful thing you do. Those are going to be stamped inside, and I'll give you a quick peek here. So this is a fall sunflower card we're making. And then here's the inside with the sentiment stamped in early espresso. And then one other die that we used on this is the stitched rectangle dies. So this very vanilla piece here and this early espresso piece here is what I used to die cut these out. So what I have done is you have the biggest rectangle, and what we have used is the second and third one in from the outside. So this one is the very vanilla piece, as you can see, and then the next one would be the early espresso piece. And so those are the two stitched rectangle dies. I love, love, love these. Use them all the time. Okay. And then we are ready to go ahead and get started. I'm going to demo for you how to color the sunflower. There's so many different color combinations you can use. It just makes it really fun. Okay, let's make sure these are together. And our base that we used is Cajun Craze, and this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then this is very vanilla and early espresso cut with the stitched rectangle dies. And then here in the center we have a Cajun Craze strip, and that is 1 1/2 by 4 3/8. And then on top of that we have a buffalo check strip that is using Stampin' Up's buffalo check background stamp. And that is 1 inch by 4 3/8. Okay, so I will show you a quick close-up of the card and then the inside of our card. And now we are ready to go ahead and assemble. We're going to get out all of our pieces here. Oh, and this is another, just an example to show you that you don't have to use the center piece, but you can if you want to. You see the difference there. Okay, so set that off to the side. So this is our base. And this is our inside liner. But we're going to start with the sunflower. I had my sunflower piece. Where did I put it? Here it is. Okay. And so we're going to go ahead and put these back on here. And I'm going to demo for you how to color this using Stampin' Up! Stampin' Blends. I love, love, love these alcohol ink markers. They are wonderful. They're nice and smooth and the ink just flows. Really, really fun to use these. So the colors that we're using is both dark and light Mango Melody, and then both light and dark Cajun Craze Stampin' Blends are the colors that we're using today. And one thing I want to tell you about this sunflower is that on the stamp I noticed that there's 3 petals that are on the bottom of the sunflower that kind of go like in a W, or some people said even an M. These are the only 3 petals that are like this in this whole flower. I like to make sure that those 3 are facing the bottom. And so same thing when you go to die cut it out, you're going to look for those same 3 petals to die cut it out. And so let me find it here. And nope, that's not it. There we go. And so when you go to just line it up, if you line up those 3 bottom petals, it just makes it so much easier than trying to do the rotation. How many have done that? I know I have. Just trying to line up the die. So, okay, here we go. Let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to color my sunflower with the dark Mango Melody Stampin' Blend. So we're going to start with that first. And I like to use the brush tip. Let me turn this around here. You have both a brush tip and a fine point tip on the Stampin' Blend. When you're doing something big, I like to fill in using the brush tip. So we're going to get started with that now. And I will tell you that I have used this color so much that I cut the tip off because it was splaying out. And that's okay. You can still get the color to come out and color just fine. And so what I'm doing is I'm just going to just kind of roughly fill in my sunflower. I'm not coloring a solid just yet because we're going to fill that in. Sorry for the squeaking, that is from the marker. Okay, so we'll just kind of fill in this in just a little bit, not a solid fill in. These sunflowers, I find, you do so many different color combinations. You do more of the summer colors or fall colors, which is kind of what I was trying to go for today with our card. Okay, so I am just going to leave it like this, and as you can see, it's not completely filled in yet, and that's okay. We will come back to that and take care of that. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my light Cajun Craze. And if you want to know, on all the Stampin' Up! Blends, they tell you the names of the colors on the sides of the marker. So now, and same thing, I'm using the brush tip end, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around, so you have the center of your sunflower. I'm actually going to go just outside the center and do like a lion's mane all the way around with the light Cajun Craze. I call it a lion's mane because it's just that technique. That's what it makes me think of, is a lion's mane. Okay. And then I'm going to take the fine tip end and I'm going to just where you have all of these lines on your sunflower from the stamp, I'm going to just go over a couple of those lines. It doesn't have to be perfect, no right or wrong way to do it. It's whatever looks good to you. And sometimes you have to experiment and practice with coloring a few times before you really get the hang of kind of the look you're going for. Okay, and then we're going to set that off to the side. And then we're going to come in with our light mango melody using the brush tip end. And what I'm going to do is take this Cajun Craze and I'm going to just lightly go all the way around the flower. And what I'm doing is I'm bringing this color out and I'm blending as I go. And eventually what you're going to see is when this is completely blended in, we will not see this solid hard line. It will be blended. So, but sometimes you just have to go over it a few times depending on the color. And this is a darker color. But I'm going to just start with this upper part of the sunflower and really get this Cajun Craze blended in a little bit so you guys can see. And I'm bringing some of that Cajun Craze color out into the petal. And I don't know if you guys can tell, I will hold it up to the camera in just a minute, but some of this hard line is actually going away. You can't really see much Cajun Craze there now. Okay, I'm going to bring it up to the camera just a little bit. And you can still see it just a little bit, but it's not quite that ring like you see down here. And so basically you're going to do that all the way around and just blend in the color. I'm also going to come in with the dark Cajun Craze and add just a little bit more color. I know this looks silly and right now, but trust me, it really comes together just beautiful. And so now what I'm going to do is to bring in some more of that Cajun Craze color down here in the bottom. I probably have colored maybe 20 or 30 of these sunflowers now, so I've kind of gotten a handle on what look I'm going for. See, this looks kind of more red here. Just keep in mind this does take a few minutes. It is a process. And the more that you do it, the more comfortable you'll get with it. And you'll figure out which color combinations you like. So some of those hard lines are going away from the Cajun Craze. But you can do, you know, like the traditional fall colors, you can do the just Cajun Craze and start with the light Cajun Craze as the base and then go around kind of the outside center with the dark and then blend in with the light. You can absolutely do that. You can also use the Mango Melody or even Daffodil Delight and add some yellow, and that will help pull those colors in as well. Okay. I'm also filling in kind of the chips of the petals as I go, and I'm still trying to blend in some of that Cajun Craze color. You can also do the same technique. It's really fun to do like on trees, Christmas trees, where you get multiple shades of green. It's really, really pretty. Okay, so now I'm going to come back in with my dark Cajun Craze and just kind of fill in just a little bit here around the outer edge of the center. Okay, and then we're going to come back in with our light Mango Melody, and I'm going to just blend those out a little bit more, and we're going to eliminate that hard line. I'm also drawing some of that Cajun Craze out away from the center and getting some of that color in the outer petals as well. And as soon as I get this all blended in the way I want, then I'll hold it up closer to the camera so you guys can see. And we are almost done. We're getting really close now. And it's okay if you wanted to get more of the Cajun craze in your outer petals, you absolutely can add more. The nice thing about the Stampin' Blend is, let's say you have an area that's too dark and you want to lighten it up. We have what we call a color lifter, which is great for lightening an area, or here's the best part, because I've done it. If you color outside the line and you go, oh, I don't want that to show, you can take the color lifter and go over it and it will make it disappear like it was never even there. Super cool. Okay, we definitely have some more of the orange color up top than we do on the bottom, and that's okay, because even in nature, not everything looks the same. I like the different variations. Okay, blend these in just a little bit, and we are almost done. So I hope everybody is having a good weekend. I have to tell you, this will be the second time I am doing these videos for this month's project, because Daryl has been great in helping getting me set up with a new microphone, and now I have a nice ring light which really provides great light. But the last time I recorded the videos for all of these projects, I did not unmute the microphone. So you guys can see everything that I'm doing, but nobody can hear what I'm saying. So this is take 2. Okay, so now I'm going to bring this up just a little bit. See if we can get the camera to focus. So you can see where the orange is really just drawn out now. And you can go back if you wanted to add more, and definitely add more if you wanted to. Also, something else, because they are alcohol ink markers, they will bleed through your paper. And so always make sure you have a scrap piece of paper behind your project. I would hate for somebody to ruin their tabletop or countertop or a piece of furniture. So make sure you always have a scrap piece of paper. And so I'm going to come in now with the Big Shot, and we're going to die cut our flower. Really quick here. Okay, and then I'm looking for my 3 petals that I want facing downward. Same with my die, I want those same 3 petals. Put this down here. I had that right the first time. Okay. There they are. And so now I'm just going to line that up. Just like that. And we're going to go ahead and run this through and die cut it out. And there's a beautiful sunflower. Isn't that pretty? Okay. So now we put the Big Shot away. And I will, at the end of the video, have all of the dimensions and everything for you guys to put this together and make it yourself. Okay. So we have our Cajun Craze base. And so now we actually are going to start assembling our card. And so we're going to put our sunflower off to the side, and we're going to start putting this part together. So you need your Very Vanilla stitched rectangle and your Early Espresso stitched rectangle. And we're going to go ahead and glue these to our card base. Make sure that your fold is on the left-hand side. I'm going to go ahead and glue our stitched rectangle, Very Vanilla stitched rectangle piece to our card base. And I'm going to just center this now. And you want to make sure that you have about the same amount of border on all 4 sides of your card base. And then when you've got that right where you want it and it looks good, go ahead and secure that down. And then we're going to do the same thing with our Early Espresso stitched rectangle. And same thing, try to get it in the center and leave a border of that very vanilla showing on all 4 sides. Okay. Nice thing I love about this mono glue is that you have a little bit of time to get your project in position where you want it. It's not permanent right away. Okay. And then you also have a Cajun Craze strip and a buffalo checked strip piece. And I want to tell you really quick, one of our new in colors is Bumblebee for this year. This is actually Cajun Craze, sorry, Crushed Curry, and it's a very, very close in color to Bumblebee. So now we're going to take our buffalo check strip and we're going to adhere it to the middle of our Cajun Craze strip. And some of them have more of the very vanilla showing on one end and more of the crushed curry. It doesn't matter which end you choose, it's whatever one you want. I'm going to go ahead and center that in the middle, and you want to have about the same amount of Cajun Craze showing through on both sides. And secure that down. And then we're going to go ahead and glue this piece to the center of our early espresso. Just right in the center there, and you want to line up end to end. And secure that down. Okay, now we're actually going to set this part off to the side. And we have multiple pieces here. So you're also going to have another piece of this buffalo check background. This is just a strip that I had cut off that was left over from me stamping this piece, and I thought, well, how can I use that? It's such a small piece. Well, we are going to attach it to the inside of our liner. And we also have these 3 leaves. And so we're going to start with the overlay of these leaves. Put these off to the side. And we're going to do these 2 after the leaf. So these are the overlays, and I die cut these out in Mossy Meadow, and these are backed with adhesive sticker sheets. Just because these are really delicate, and I found if you back them up to sticker sheets, even if you don't make them into a sticker, it stabilizes them a little bit and they're not quite so flimsy. And trust me, you do not want to try to glue one of these to a leaf. Ask me how I know. Okay, so you have your overlay piece, and so what you're going to do is, I like to start at the bottom of the leaf because you have more of something to hold on to compared to the top of the leaf. And so we're going to start to peel this away from the bottom. It's just like a sticker. You just peel away the backing. If I can get my nail under that. Oh, there we go. Okay, and you just peel that away. And then, I don't know if you guys can see, this is shiny, and that is the adhesive. So that's your sticker. So using the bottom of that leaf, I'm going to take this part and line it up to the bottom of this leaf. It makes it easy to line up the leaf. So I'm starting at the very bottom, and then when you've got it right where you want it, go ahead and adhere that down, and then you line up the rest of your leaf and adhere it down. And so now you have your overlay over the top of your leaf. And so we're going to do that same thing for the other 2 leaves as well. And peel away the backing, and I'm lining up the bottom. And line up the rest of the leaf and attach it as you go. And one more, and we have our leaves done. Okay, on the bottom of this one up. I just love the look that these overlay pieces give. Just adds a different element to it. Okay, and so now we're going to set those off to the side, and we're going to come in and we're going to work on our sunflower piece. So remember, we have these 3 petals facing downward, and then we have our center piece. If you guys can see, these have holes. I did not poke those holes. It's from the die. The die actually does that for you. And so what we're going to do is we're going to attach this center piece to the center of our sunflower. And you want to do that before you attach your overlay piece on. And so we just use mono glue. And I don't want to put glue over where the holes are, and so I just do a ring around the outside. And attach that to the center of your sunflower. Okay, and then we have our overlay piece that is die cut out in early espresso, and same thing. I back this up with the sticker adhesive sheet, and so same thing, you're going to peel away the backing. I will tell you, each one of these petals is die cut as well, and most of them, as you peel away that backing, a lot of those petals will fall away. You might have some that you have to poke out with your take your pick tool or your paper piercer, and that's okay too. So I'm going to find those 3 petals, and I'm going to turn it over and actually start to peel away at those 3 petals on the bottom. So you see I have a petal that just fell through. So you're going to have a lot of these little pieces. And so as you can see, a lot of those are just lifting right up. So just slowly peel it away. You don't want to do it too fast, because you do want most of those petals to fall away. And then I have one here that didn't. Okay, and remember, this is sticky because we've made it a sticker. So I want to make sure my 3 petals are facing downward. And so I have the same 3 petals lined up here on my overlay. And so I'm actually going to start lining up at the very bottom of those 3 petals. And take your time. There's no rush with this. You can really take your time and get it lined up the way that you want, because once it's down, it's down. Chances of you lifting it back up are very slim. Okay, and here we go. And then when you've got that right where you want it, go ahead and secure that down over the top of your sunflower. Okay, and there we have our beautiful sunflower. I don't know if the camera and the light is picking up, but there is quite a bit of orange in here. But me looking at the laptop screen, it looks yellow. So I hope you guys can see all those shades of the orange mixed in. It's beautiful. Okay, so now we are ready to build the front of our card with our sunflower. So we're going to... So remember, keeping those 3 petals facing downward, you go ahead and just place, we're staging is what we're working on now, we're just pre-staging. And so get your flower in position where you want it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our 3 leaves, and then we have our, I don't know what you call these. Some people say, oh, well, it kind of looks like wheat. I don't know what they're called, but... If you want to say these are wheat stalks, and these were die cut out in crumb cake. And so we need a total of 4 of these. 2 of them are going to go on the bottom, and 2 are going to go up toward the top. So I like to get these ready. So I have these 2 up here and these 2 down at the bottom of our card. And what I like to do is, oops, let me bring this in closer. These are very delicate, so you do want to be careful. I did not back these up to adhesive sheet. But you have one part, the wheat, whatever, that is actually taller than the lower. And so I like to have a tall, a small, a tall, and a small. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And so now what we're going to do, the first thing we're going to do is kind of pre-position our leaves. And so I have one leaf going out this direction, and then I have just sort of a mock setup, taking my other two leaves and place them down here in this section. And if that looks good to you, then you can leave it, but you can get them in position whatever looks good to you. Then when you kind of have them roughly where you want them, then you're going to take your wheat stalks and you're going to chuck them under your sunflower in the lower right corner. And just kind of position them where you want them. And you want to keep in mind you don't want to go out over the edge of your card, because it would make it really hard to put this in an envelope. And you're going to do the same thing up here on the top. Just kind of tuck them in under your sunflower. You might have to lift up your sunflower a little bit to get them tucked under there. Okay. And so that's basically, if you are good with that, or if you need to move your sunflower over a little, if you need to reposition your wheat stalks. Okay. And then what we're going to do, something else you do need your dimensionals, because we are going to need that for the back of our sunflower. So what I like to do now is to, where these wheat stalks are, I'm going to just slowly lift up my sunflower. And with one finger, I'm holding all of these in place, and with my glue, I'm coming up under and just putting a little bit of glue just to hold those wheat stalks in place. And so now I'm going to come in with my lid and just push them down so that they are secure, so I know that these aren't going to go anywhere. Okay, so those are in place. And I'm going to reposition my stalks over here in this corner. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to lift these guys up, put a little glue behind them. That was a lot of glue. And go ahead and secure that down. Okay. Give those a minute. I'm going to come in with my paper piercer tool and just push that down. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn our leaves over. We're going to put dimensionals on the back of our leaves. And yes, you can do this part ahead of time if you want. But we're not going to take the backings off just yet. And I will show you why in just a minute. So I did 2 dimensionals for the back of each leaf. And then while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and put dimensionals on the back of our sunflower. And I just did 5 total. I don't think you really need more than that. Okay. So now I'm going to find my 3 petals, my W or my M, however you want to do it, and make sure those are facing down. And I'm going to go ahead and peel the backings off of my dimensionals. And we're going to secure the sunflower down. Those 3 petals facing down. And so you just pretend your leaves are already in position and you're just kind of getting your sunflower ready to secure. And I like that right where that's at. So I'm going to go ahead and secure that down. And so now your leaf is free and you can peel away the backing off your dimensionals. And now you can go ahead and place your leaf where you want it and secure that down with the dimensional. You're going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, and then we have one more to go. Okay, So I probably should have explained, do not put your dimensionals really close to the outer edge of your flower, because you want to be able to come in and to tuck these leaves in. And if you have dimensionals there, it's going to make it really difficult to do that. Okay. And there is the front of our card. Isn't that beautiful and quick? It really didn't take much time at all. Okay, so really quick, I'm going to go ahead and do the inside liner of our card. This is very vanilla. This is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And we're going to take our strip and go ahead and glue that down to this edge of our, and you want to do that first before you stamp your sentiment, so that you know exactly where to stamp your sentiment. Okay, I'll go ahead and line this up edge to edge, end to end. When you've got that in place, go ahead and secure that down. And that is ready to go. Okay, so now we're going to come in with our Best Year stamp set. And we need the thank you for all you do. And where's the other one? And every thoughtful thing you do. Not that sentiment. I'm going to peel this away and get this on our block. And I'm stamping this in early espresso ink. And this is a tip. Before I stamp onto my stamped piece, I always stamp on the scrap piece paper first to make sure that these are straight and lined up. I'll be right back. I need to get my ink pad. Okay, so we have early espresso, and these are the Stampin' Up! New ink pads, so they're different from our old one, but I say you open them up like a compact. So there is a little lip here, and I just take my thumb and push up on that, and then you pull this away from you, and then this just slides right in. Okay, so we're going to stamp thank you for all that you are. And that looks straight to me. So we're going to go ahead and ink that up again and stamp our liner piece. And you want to try to keep it in the center. So this grid paper, it works great for that. As I'm lining this up, it's pretty much in the center of my liner here. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp that. No going back now. Okay, that turned out good. And then we're going to do the every thoughtful thing you do. And I'm going to stamp down here and make sure it's straight. And it is not straight. So I'm going to clean that off really quick with our Stampin' Scribe. And reposition it so that it is straight. And if you look down here, you can see my word is actually going down a little bit. So that tells me I need to lift one end up a little bit. Okay, let's try that. Sorry guys, I'm not sure what happened there. Okay, so we're going to try and see. Nope. Try to lift this up a little bit. There we go. Let's give that another try. Okay, either I am off here, or why is it never works perfect when you're doing a video? How come that never happens? Okay, I'm going to reposition my stamp again. And that's the other thing. A lot of times it looks straight until you ink it up and then you go to stamp it and it's like, oh, that's not straight. There we go. We got it. Third time's a charm, I guess. Okay, and I'm just lining that up and stamping right under. So, thank you for all that you are and every thoughtful thing you do. And then to close the ink pad where this little lip is, you want to pull that toward you. And then this goes away from you to close. So it's just kind of like a compact. I'm turning it around until you hear that click and you know it's closed. Okay, so now clean our stamps really quick. You guys know I'm very particular about cleaning stamps right after you ink them. Just ask those who know me. Okay, and then we're going to clean this one real quick. And we can set those off to the side, let them dry. And now we're ready to secure our liner to the inside of our card. And we're just going to glue that down. And you do want to leave a Cajun Craze border all around 4 sides of the inside of your card. And secure that down when you've got it in position. And there we go, guys. There is a beautiful sunflower fall card. What a great way to let somebody know you're thinking of them, or just sending somebody a happy mail with a little handwritten note. Doesn't take much, just the little things, right? Okay, so there we have that, and really quick I will bring in our notes here. So again, this is a Crafty Chick original. What that means is that this is my original design, and if we are casing a project from somebody, I always give credit to whoever we're casing from. The card base is Cajun Craze 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then the layers 1 and 2 is cut out with the Stampin' Up! Stick rectangle dies, and that's the very vanilla and early espresso piece. And then our Cajun Craze strip, which is 1 1/2 inches by 4 3/8. And our buffalo check strip, which is this piece right here, is 1 inch by 4 3/8. And this is using the Celebrate Sunflowers bundle and the Best Year stamp set for the sentiments. And then the ink color we used is Stampin' Up's Early Espresso. Okay, guys, this has been really fun. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have had fun crafting with me, and I hope it has inspired you to make a card, create a card, send somebody a card. Okay, I love you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.